Hey there, it's time for another Jungle Drums. I am joined this week by my good friend Gimboyd. Sergeant J is also supposed to be here, but we have a distinct feeling that he's maybe fallen asleep because he's a lazy bastard.
Yes.
But we'll see. He might turn up. He might. He was supposed to. You know, he said, oh no, for sure, I'll definitely be there. But, hey, you know what it's like? You have a big dinner, you're feeling all nice and comfy, maybe you're snuggling with your significant other, watching a bit of TV, and, yeah, there's no response from him, so we're just going to have to get on with it, and if he pops in, great. If he doesn't, oh well. Oh well. I assume you're feeling a little bit better, sir?
Oh, yeah. Fine.
Ish. Ish.
I'm just confused as to what sort of stuff out.
Right. Okay. So why don't we'll just dive right on in. This week, yeah, it's must have been this week. I don't know if maybe something had popped up over the weekend or not. But you know, if you're into gaming, well, specifically if you're into capturing your gameplay, there's a good chance you've heard of Elgato. Elgato have been making capture cards, specifically, aimed at gamers per se, because there is a lot more expensive, higher-end options out there for professionals. You know, companies like Magewell, Blackmagic, etc., etc. Whereas Elgato, depending how you want to pronounce it, the cat. It's the cat in Spanish, isn't it? Elgato. Is more aimed, it's a little bit more accessible. Yes, some of their products are relatively expensive, but, they're cheaper than a lot of the pro-level capture devices that are out there. Obviously, they make external, they also make internal cards. They're quite a good company. Recently, I think that was back in May, they released the Stream Deck, a piece of kit that I'm really eager to get my hands on. I'm just waiting for that XSplit integration, since I'm an XSplit user, which should be soon. But you can see that Elgato, they're definitely, they're aiming at the streamer crowd, and they've committed even more to that this week. There's two new products that are coming our way. So I just wanted to kind of show them off a little bit. I don't have them, but from the website. So this is straight from Elgato.com. And one of the first things they've came out with is the Cam Link. So as you can see, it just looks like a little USB, looks like a thumb drive. But this is made specifically to hook up to your DSLR, your camcorder, action cam. And it's such a great idea, because in the past, a lot of people who have decided to raise the quality of their stream, raise the quality of their camera, have been using DSLRs for quite some time. And usually they've been using, just one of the normal Elgato capture cards as a way to, plug in via HDMI, which is, a bit of a shame, because obviously that's not really what it's for. It's supposed to be used for, capturing gameplay from a console or another PC. But so it's quite nice that they've came out with this actual proper cam link that's got real-time feedback. It's supposed to be able to display, record at 1080p 60 frames per second, no problem. With the cam link, it's not just for streaming, obviously. You'll be able to use it with Skype, any other kind of things, Facebook Live, probably Discord when...
You should mute the stream, Jay.
Yeah, that kind of his headset. I see you have joined us. But yeah, this cam link, will enable you. Same like when Discord gets its video chat, which allegedly that has been released to 5% of people, and I'm gonna have to check this out because I see that I have a Discord update available. So fingers crossed, maybe I've been picked. But anyway, the cam link, it looks like a great feature, a great bit of kit. I'm not sure on the pricing of it yet because it was just announced, but it's looking really, really good. In the box you get the cam link itself, which looks like a thumb drive, and you get the USB 3.0 extension cable, and then obviously the quick start guide. But that looks like a good bit of kit for those of you that do have a camcorder or a DSLR that's just been sitting around gathering dust and you want to use it more than what you do. Then the Cam Link looks like it's going to be a really good option. It'll be interesting to see what the pricing is like, because later down the line, I'm looking at trying to create more video content for YouTube, and so something like this teamed up with a decent digital camera definitely has my attention. I like the look of it. And the other item that is Elgato have announced, which looks really quite cool. Unfortunately, due to my space limitations, it's actually too big for me to use. But this is their collapsible green screen. Now, you've probably seen collapsible green screens already on Amazon or wherever, and they're kind of like that kind of pop-up tent type deal, which, as you can imagine, the internet has plenty of funny little kind of clips of people getting hit in the face by them and whatnot. Whereas Elgato's answer to this is completely different. If we pull up just the image of it. Hey Josh, how you doing, bud? How you doing? The collapsible chroma key panel, it looks like a very well-constructed piece of kit. If you look at this image here, as you can see, it's just this nice little kind of carry case deal that you plop on the ground, and then what it allows you to do is you just pull up on it, and there you go. You've got an instant green screen that seems to be well supported in the rear. It definitely looks like a nice bit of kit, but from what I understand, the pricing of it is really quite high. And some of the critics out there on the internet say, so basically this is just like one of those collapsible projector screens that you can already buy that look almost the same, except this one's green instead of white. Well, yeah, basically that, and it's got the Elgato name on it. But I believe these are relatively pricey. If I just have a quick search, actually. Elgato green.
I'll quickly say that's the first time I've seen the back of it when you just showed that there on the stream. I just thought you had to hang it up and a nail whacked in the wall behind it or something.
No, that's the thing. It's fully self-standing. Yeah. Because when you look at a lot of the solutions that are out there, basically, you can buy the frames and whatnot, and those are great. If you're on a budget, one of the cheapest ways to do it is, how you can get. Have you guys ever seen those? Like the coat rack things that are on wheels, they're just like plastic tubing. You know what I mean, like a clothes hanger kind of thing.
Like the one that you just hang up props and stuff.
Well, yeah, just like to hang up your shirts.
Just like that, yeah.
Right. Well, that's like a really cheap way of doing that. You get one of those and just throw your kind of green, because you can buy the green screen I use is just from Amazon. I think it was like £5. Right, it's just a piece of green linen.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
It could be.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
Thanks,
Where's
Josh.
the fucking money?
Your not secret friend just tipped £1. Thank you so much. Put this towards your Elgato green screen. See, I'd love to, but it's.
Just need a couple hundred more.
It's not. It's actually too big. I looked at it and it would actually go outside of this room because I'm just in this tiny little space.
In his little Harry Potter cupboard, it won't fit.
Indeed. The pricing I see is this euros? Yeah, this looks like euros. The green screen is 149.95 euros, and that Elgato Cam Link is 129.95. So both quite expensive pieces of kit. I mean, 150 euros for this green screen from Elgato is definitely pricey, considering you can buy a full green screen kit with the actual lighting, like your big kind of light boxes, the soft lamps, for cheaper than that. But then again, this has some really good portability. I think it's definitely a good solution, especially for a tight workspace. Not quite as tight as mine, but if you are limited on space, this is great. You can just plop it where you need it, unleash it. When you're done, plop it back down, put it in the cupboard. But that pricing,
really worth it much, though.
Everyone wishes theirs was a touch.
this is the thing. It's for most people that are going to be using a green screen, Jay, the chances are, you know, they are just going to have either a sheet or something placed up against the wall, or a little one of these other little collapsible solutions. I mean, this product right here, I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks good, but it's a fairly niche product, where if you have the room for a less expensive, more kind of like even a larger and more kind of solid structure, then that makes sense. Whereas, okay, if you are in kind of a tight space, then I can see why this would appeal to some folk. I mean, it does, don't get me wrong, it looks like really high quality. I mean, I would hope it would be high quality for that price.
You would hope.
But as you say, it's not really for everyone. It's not like, oh, I must have this, you know, when you can accomplish the same thing with cheaper solutions. But yeah, I think if you're in a kind of a tight space, again, not as tight as my space, that's not a homonym, there's no hidden meaning there. You know, then yeah,
it totally is.
You know, I can see why this product would be appealing. But I think, unfortunately, just a lot of that price goes to the fact that it's an Elgato product. Because, I mean, even if I have a quick search of collapsible projector screens, right? Let me see what I can find really quick. Sorry, just totally doing this on the fly. I mean, okay, it's obvious.
He didn't do his market research early enough.
Well, it's just because I just thought of this on the fly. This is why. I mean, I suppose that's fair enough as far as pricing goes, but for example, if I pull this up from Amazon, right? Now, obviously, this is a very different product, but as you can see, a projection screen. Now, this one doesn't go down to the ground, obviously, but you can see the build. See how it's a very similar type of deal, where it's like this roller kind of self-enclosed thing, and then it comes up. And I mean, that's £50 for that.
Yeah, but you look at that, that doesn't fall down into solely the bar at the bottom, does it? It's stand doesn't fall away by the look of
this
not
is
fully.
Yeah, this is the best picture I can get of it right here. So it kind of, I mean, it's slim. I mean, it's not an apples to apples comparison. I mean, I think that's fair. It's not really, but you can see what I mean, though, as far as the technology of it being a roller type deal. So I'm sure if I spent a bit more time searching, I mean, okay, there's a Duronic one there. I mean, that's actually quite expensive as well. You know, but you can see, oh, look, here you go, 40 inches. Mobile portable desktop for home traveling presentation, £40 for this. Is probably a bit too small, but you can see what I mean, though, that there's already technology like that. Just it so happens that the fabric isn't green. So I just feel that they're slightly taking advantage of their namesake and making it a bit pricey. I mean, it's the same with that cam link. That I didn't think the cam link would be that much. But I mean, oh my god.
They're relying on their name to sell it as well.
Yeah, that's the same price.
Clothing industries and stuff like that, you got a big name on it, you pay more.
You know, I mean, this is the thing. That cam link is about the same price as a capture card. So, you know, if I feel if it was like significantly cheaper, then that would make sense. You know, like someone who wants to use their camera would be, oh, hey, good, I don't have to waste my money on buying another capture card. I can get this specific cam link thing. But considering the pricing, you know, at least if you buy the capture card, you can use that. Yeah, yeah, it'll be more flexible. Again, I'm not trying to slate these guys. I'm honestly not. I'm just looking at it and thinking, okay, nice products, but
maybe when they start getting competition in those sort of things, they will go down.
Yeah, no, I think that's
when Razer throws a hat in the ring or something like that. Or now you have a company that might do it.
Oh yeah, but well, Razors, they'll be like what, 200 or something. But they'll probably be bad.
People like their Razer stuff.
Plus, they'll have chroma in the case and stuff. You know, they'll have like. See, that's what they should do. Razer
could. What color your green screen will be. You can have a blue screen just by changing the lights.
You're onto something there. Razer could come out with its own version that even has its own lighting. Now that would be something, because that's one of the key ingredients for having a green screen is you need to have the lighting as well.
And even with more expensive competition, they'd still probably want to lower their price just to be that much cheaper than the competition.
True.
Just to, like, okay, they may be more expensive, but people are probably going to go for them because they're a bigger name. So we'll make ourselves cheaper, make ourselves more attractive. So.
But no, it's definitely got its uses. I mean, look at yourself, Jay. Like, you know, if you were going to be streaming in your current room, you know, like, it's not very practical for you to set up a permanent green screen, is it? Because
no,
you have to function in that room. Whereas something like that, you could basically just put that behind your chair. You know, it could be sitting in the cupboard, but then when it comes time to use it, boom, plop it behind your chair, roll it on up and open, and there you go. So it definitely has.
It is good. It is good for things like that. But I think, as you say, half the reason you're paying the price tag is because of the name on it.
Yeah.
And again, I suppose being as it's quite, I wouldn't say a niche sort of thing, people, if they want it, will pay the money for it.
Of course.
Because it's going to be hard to find something else somewhere else like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
marketing.
It's like the Stream Deck. So many people had to go and get it. Not necessarily because they needed it, because, you know, or like with folk that have XSplit that can't use it fully, but just know they had to have it. It was the cool thing to have. And don't be wrong, I mean, it's awesome, but the thing is, though, you know, you can accomplish the same thing with other products. There's, you know, there are ways to do it. Don't be wrong, the Stream Deck does put it all together in a much nicer package, and the way that it can integrate with OBS is amazing. I mean, we're talking about not just changing scenes, but within a scene, the ability to bring up sources, which is something that is just awesome. I can't wait till it has a XSplit integration. I'll definitely be grabbing one. It's a handy tool. Handy tool. Right. So that was not an advertisement for Elgato by any means, but we just thought we'd talk about this. Right, now my next bit, and I'll be interested to get your guys' insight on this. I was fortunate enough to watch quite a bit of this gameplay, and I'll have to admit, if I'm honest, I didn't know much about this game. I hadn't been following the development of it, and the development of it is actually amazing. And so, I just for illustrative purposes, I've got from WCCF Tech, they've actually reviewed it, and that was Hellblade. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. That just came out, I believe, was it yesterday or the day before on PC, and PS4 as well. And it's an indie game that, you know, most people are saying has a AAA feel to it. Now, if you've never heard of Hellblade, it's very difficult for me to sum it up. On one hand, I would say that, you know, it's kind of like a hack and slash third person type, you know what I mean, like Horizon Zero Dawn. That's the kind of way it looks, but it's inspired by Celtic and Norse mythology, right? So it's got that whole tone to it, but the core of the game is amazing. It's actually really developed with mental health in mind, specifically psychosis. Now, psychosis can be induced via a range of ways. You know, there's even drug-induced psychosis. But these guys, this small team of devs, they actually did their research. They were talking to, you know, psychologists, psychiatrists, you know, mental health professionals, trying to get an idea of what it would be like for someone with psychosis. And so the way the game plays out is there's this constant, and it's quite creepy. If you guys haven't seen this, it's quite strange, where you're going around and there's this constant kind of like voices in your head, and there's conversations happening, and things are doing, you know, like that as you're playing it. And just the actual, the cinematography in the game is stunning. I mean, some of the graphics, it's just a beautiful game to look at. It's also very, very atmospheric. You know, there's a lot of darkness. Some of the kind of little cutscenes and stuff that go on to explain further this kind of concept of how you're exploring your own mental health, you know, as the character Senua. It's fantastic. It's a game that I honestly, you know, if I had the money in my pocket right now, I'd be playing it right now. It looks stunning and fantastic. It is at a price point. I believe it's about 30 quid on PS4. I think £25 on PC. So I don't think it's an exceptionally large game. But it's really amazing. Even looking at this, the graphical qualities. I mean, they're saying they were playing it in 4K, so we know 4K takes a hell of a lot of resources with an NVIDIA GTX 1080, and they had to drop to high settings. You know, they're saying if you want to play it very high, it's 4K at over 40 frames per second, not 60, over 40. You're going to need a GTX 1080 Ti. Now, whether or not that's due to how stunning the game is or if it's just a coding issue, I think it's more likely the actual graphics themselves, because it looks fantastic. If I pull up actually just this quick video.
Aesthetically, it's very, very nice looking. It looks like they've only used a limited colour palette as well as not make it look muddy like Gears of War does.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. The lighting effects.
Kills the dragon.
So you got the greys, you got the blues, and then they just throw in the light, and it just brings it into life, and it's really nice.
Its blood and asks Sigurd to roast
It does. It looks stunning. Is it? Had this been on either you guys' radar at all, by any chance?
No, but it is now though.
It popped up recently because there was the. No one's still certain if it's true or not, but if you die too many times, it deletes your save file.
I was about to say,
Yes.
no, that's
Some
true in
people
a
say
way.
it has happened, and there's theories currently going around if you really, really continually keep fucking up, it will eventually delete your save file.
That's interesting.
But I've also heard it's only like full playthrough, it's only about 4 hours worth of content. Really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, remember with the Turing test?
4 hours.
The Turing test was the same price point as that, and that was the same. A beautiful, stunning, kind of smaller dev game, but yeah, it didn't have like, you know, didn't take that. I think it was probably maybe 10 hours, maybe.
If it's like 4 hours of extremely quality gameplay, I don't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
If it's 4 hours of just standard game at that price point, it's that's when it starts getting problematic. It looks lovely. I don't know how it plays. I've not actually seen any game.
Well, so, I mean, I was watching
Shots.
the Scholarly Gamer play it the other night, and just it was amazing, like watching his reactions, like his facial reactions to some of the stuff, because you could just see it was really blowing him away. And even just watching it myself was quite amazing. I mean, the game devs themselves recommend playing it with headphones just because of the way the audio is, because it really does have, like, again, the key thing about this game is its focus on this journey through mental health, so to speak, where you're getting these voices inside your head. So if you're playing it with headphones, obviously, you know, it's simulating that effect really, really well. So you know, you don't feel that it's from the environment, rather than, you know, it's more like these voices are actually in your head. It's
decent headphones or a really good surround sound system might work really nice for that.
yeah, surround sound would probably do
Or just imagine.
do well.
I like it when they do that sort of stuff.
But no, I already know I'm gonna buy this on PC. I'm definitely gonna pick it up and give it a try.
It's single player only, isn't it? So
Yeah. I mean, the way that this review summed it up, right? They gave it a 9, and they said, blending powerful imagery, unrivaled visuals quality, an excellent combat system, and a unique setting that mixes Norse mythology with mental illness, Ninja Theory fully delivers on their independent AAA pitch with Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. This is one of those titles that, albeit not flawless, should be experienced by every gamer at some point. And they listed as pros, you know, visuals, technically, artistically, excellent combat, probably the greatest exploration of psychosis in games yet. And the only con they put was that the ending is more than a bit confusing, which, considering the subject matter of the game, doesn't surprise me, actually.
you wouldn't to expect that. The whole mental health aspect of it is, I find, really interesting. I've not heard of this before, and more games need to actually breach that.
Yeah. No, you're
There's
right.
so many indie titles that really do it.
You're absolutely right. There's been several indie titles that have breached the subject of mental health, but they're games that just people haven't heard of. They're ones that have not had commercial success. So it's nice to see a small studio like this actually, you know, really trying to, as they say there, they're kind of pitch at a AAA title. Yes, we're not a AAA studio, but this game, you know, is an attempt to be a AAA title. So really quite interesting, like you say, what they've done. And I mean nowadays, you know, the society is more, I won't say understanding, but more cognizant of mental health. People are actually, you know, years ago, if someone had depression or something, you know, they were being told, get a grip, you know, and it's not that easy. Nah. If you've got problems, whether it's anxiety, you know, depression, you know, there's so many different levels of mental health illness, unfortunately. You know, some more severe than others. And it's only been recently that people are actually, you know,
people really realize is probably go as far as say it's probably a lot more people with some even minor mental health issue than not really.
Yeah,
it's the fact of the modern.
No, absolutely.
Starting to understand that,
and it's just nice to see, you know, a game like this that is hopefully going to bring that even more into the limelight. So no, it's looking good. What do you think, Jay? Is that a possible PS4 purchase for you?
Probably. No, he's too busy playing Gwen.
No, I'm not. Yeah, well, too busy Gwen on PlayStation. Yeah.
Oh my.
I don't want to. I've just had a quick look at Ninja Theory because I've recognised the name. I realised I have played a game that I really liked by them before. They did a Enslaved Odyssey to the West.
That is correct.
Unusual sort of telling of the Journey to the West. It's really good.
Yeah, another game that was actually really good but didn't necessarily have commercial success.
It was popular, but it didn't really sort of blow up like it should have done because it was a good little sort of platformy brawler game. They also did the remake of Devil May Cry, which is
that's
really really good game. I haven't fully played it. It is decent.
Oh well. But no, so there you go. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, available now on PS4 and PC. I don't believe
good bunch of English lads made it.
There was a plan for Xbox. I could be wrong, but I don't think there was a plan for it.
It's just PlayStation 4 Windows at the moment.
Yeah. Right. Well, hey, let's have a little bit of a talk about tech, shall we? We all know about the AMD stuff that's been happening.
I'll make a cup of tea while you do that.
You do that. Look, there's plenty of content out right there because when it comes to the Threadripper, which obviously is just launching, there's been embargoes on all the details, and each day this week a different embargo has lifted. So people were allowed to show it unboxing, the next day people were allowed to show installation, the next day people were allowed to show actual benchmarks. And so I've been looking over all those numbers, looking at the benchmarks, and so sure enough, it's impressive. For multi-core stuff, as you can imagine, it's super impressive. This is going to be, I think Threadripper is kind of aimed more at professionals. I think folk like me and you, Jay, like the Ryzen 7 is probably still the chip for us. Whereas if we were really, really heavy into video editing and stuff, then the Threadripper makes sense. But for gamers, we know gaming doesn't usually use many cores, so it doesn't really make sense. But with that said, we're actually not going to talk about AMD. No.
Dun dun dun.
Instead, we're going to talk about Intel. Now, we know that they just released the Skylake X platform, right? These crazy Core i9s and stuff, which some people are saying are a waste of money and blah, 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 blah. But, we won't get into that. We're talking about what's coming up next, and that's the 8th gen of Intel Core processors. So Intel has announced that on August 21st, they're going to unveil the 8th gen Intel Core processor family on Facebook Live. This is from videocards.com. Basically, that's the same day as the Great American Solar Eclipse. So they've chosen that day/event as the time for them to unveil their 8th gen, which is codenamed Coffee Lake. Now, all of the details about Coffee Lake are rumored, Like, there's some little mini leaks and whatnot, which I'm sure we talked about. I mean, I know last week we talked about the whole motherboard thing when it comes to the 8th gen. That was last week, right? Or was that the week before?
Yeah, it was. It was last week.
And now that I know a little bit more about the 8th gen, I understand why they're changing motherboards. Now, this is not confirmed, but what it looks like on the 8th gen i3, which we know the i3 is like the lowest, cheapest processor they make, right? The i3 is like the dog. It's really not that good, to be honest. But it looks like the i3 is going to have quad core with hyperthreading. Right? That's what the current i7s have. And it looks like the i5s and the i7s and then possibly the i9s, or no, I think the i9s will be a different series, but it looks like the i5s might be a hex core, or possibly an 8 core without hyperthreading, whereas the i7 could come in different forms, maybe a 6 core, an 8 core, a 10 core, all with hyperthreading. So when you look at that, what they're doing, I mean, that's a direct response to Ryzen. Not Threadripper, but, you know, the mainstream Ryzen processors. You know, we don't have details on how much cache each chip will have and whatnot, but that, I mean, that's a game changer. To think that you could get a quad core with hyperthreading, so, you know, an 8-core chip, and as one of their entry models, the i3, that's pretty game changing. Yeah, I mean, can you just imagine that? Like, you're on an i5, I'm on an i7, and it could be possible that going to an i3 would be an upgrade for both of us.
Yep.
That's, if this is true. Again, this is just rumored. But it looks like for sure the i7s are not going to be quad cores. They're going to be either hex or octas or maybe even tens. So this, now I kind of fully understand why they have to change the motherboard, because we're talking about a completely different architecture.
Well, yeah, exactly. So they've done it for a reason. They've changed the chipset for a reason.
Yeah,
and it's not just to pee people off or just make more motherboards sold. It is for a legit reason.
Mm-hmm. But it'll be interesting to see how much faster they are versus the 7th gen. So that will be interesting to see, because if they're faster, like in single core performance as well, you know, then hey, they're on a winner. But I mean, again, just looking at it, it's clear this is a direct response to AMD kind of stepping their game up.
It's good for two reasons, isn't it? We said, I think a while back, it gives Intel that almost competition again, to not just think they can just not slack off as such, but not be as innovative or as sort of needing to really produce. I think the other thing will be good to see will be the comparisons between the performance of the new AMD Ryzens and then this 8th gen, and again the price per power or just price as a whole comparison of what you get in bang for your buck, which will be quite. Yeah. But again, we've got to still wait for all these specs to come out and everything, and it's kind of a pain in the arse, considering how long we've been talking about all this sort of stuff.
I know.
It's nice to.
I mean, if anything, I don't think Intel will lower their prices. I don't think that's how they roll. You know,
no, I don't think they will.
They'll say, no, you're paying for this, you know, performance, blah 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 blah. I mean, look at the Threadripper, which is twice the price of the new Core i9 Skylake X or whatever. And it looks like all the multi-core stuff outperforms it. I mean, the AMD, which is half the price, outperforms the Intel one. So I just don't know. I mean, I think Intel will be the usual. It'll be expensive, but what I'm interested in is those lower chips, because I would imagine it'll have like really small caches on them, probably like the i3, and probably like a low clock speed. But even then, to be able to get like a budget entry-level processor, kind of like what AMD's currently offering with their Ryzen 3s and their 5s. Because I mean, the Ryzen 5, that is what I recommend to most folk. You know, it's just like, look, that price point is just perfect. You're getting a nice combination of quality of performance, cores, and in quite a small, inexpensive price. But no, if the i3 is actually a good performer, because for the last couple of years, an i3 was a waste of money, Jay. You were better off buying that Pentium dual core that they still made. The was it the G28350 or something like that? That was actually better than the i3.
i3 is always something I've avoided in any way, because it just seems like it's the lowest of the lowest. Like the i5's never seemed like it was too much.
Hey Matt, how you doing, bud?
Extra money, but
yeah,
if this entry i3 would be a good entry level thing, and it's not just one of these like, oh, it's an i3, we'll just get it if we need a cheap processor. And then again, it's compete with AMD, it'll be good.
No, I mean it's true. I mean the thing I like the idea of is, a lot of like budget gamers out there feel really limited because yes, they can play the games they want to, but when it comes to things like streaming, if they've got a low spec processor, that's when you really feel it. That's where you're like, all of a sudden, you're getting choppy frames and this, that, and this. But if the i3 is going to have that many cores, then, oh wow, this is great. Again, it's just expanding and opening these possibilities to more people. Much like what the Ryzens have been doing now for quite a little while. Which, since we're talking about AMD, just briefly, the Vega card that we were talking about last week, talking about the prices.
Yes.
Well, Overclockers UK already have them. You can't, they're not on the site yet, but I actually saw a picture today of them. They're physically there, and I believe they go on sale Monday. I believe. I'm going
to start saving up for this AMD system.
And just remember, if you buy from Overclockers UK, you can use my link. Let me see.
I can do.
I can't remember if I have. Is that it? No, I can't. I thought I had a command for it. No, I know it's somewhere in the timers. It's somewhere in the timers.
Somewhere. Amidst all those numbers.
Somewhere there. Yeah, no, you're right, Matt. It's a lot of people's issues. That's what my issue was at first. I had an AMD X4 750K Black Edition. Nice little processor. It was a quad core, but it was a quad core that was a lie. It was a... well, because they marketed it as a... Yeah, it was fake. It was fake news. Fake news! It was marketed as a quad core, but actually it was a dual core with AMD's version of hyperthreading called SMT. And basically, whenever that ramped up, like whenever its boost mode engaged, it shut down half of its cores. So I was effectively on a dual core, but again, a fake dual core. It's just a single core with hyperthreading.
Was it even a real processor, to be honest?
Oh, I would tell you what, it's a crack for gaming. What a crack! Like, dude, this chip. Okay, keep in mind how much processors cost, right? That CPU, and I've still got it. That's what's going in the home entertainment PC. Was like 50 quid. But
not too shabby.
I went from that to an i7. That was, like
quite a big jump.
Well, this is the thing, but that was the only... Anything under that wouldn't have been an upgrade for me. Even going, like... Yeah, it wouldn't have been enough of an upgrade anyway, but yeah. But yes, the Vega, they're being released. It's coming out very soon. But Overclockers UK, keep an eye on them. See what their pricing's like.
What's nice about all these new sort of processors coming out, especially more powerful ones, is because things like streaming and stuff is becoming much more the norm. It's becoming a lot... It's a lot bigger than what it was.
Oh, it's part of the gaming culture now.
Exactly, and be able to give people the ability to budget, build this sort of stuff, to allow them to at least get started into it, see if it's something they want to do or whatnot. It's good, because obviously computer processing powers and stuff are going very quickly upwards in terms of what you need for stuff nowadays. Like earlier talking about this... what was it, the game we were talking about a minute ago, with even that on like a 1080 Ti was needed to run at like the full whack.
Yeah, just to get over 40 frames.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but keep in mind, that was 4K though. I mean,
exactly.
Like our systems, we'd be fine at 1080. HE real sex.
Well, it's what's nice though to see all this sort of competition now coming back in again, and seeing them be able to bring out these almost cheap budget processors that are actually very good and can be used.
I've always liked that aspect of, yes, you know what, anyone with the money can go buy the biggest and best stuff, but it's similar to like cars, right? When you've got that person that has like an old Nissan 240 or whatever, you know, from the 80s, or like an old Ford Cosworth, right? And they tweak it and they do all this stuff to it to make it, you know, perform way above what it originally was. And I've always been that same way with computers. I love it when, you know, getting something for a bargain and just tweaking it, trying to make it run better, you know, whether it's overclocking your video card or your processor, or, you know, doing stuff on the cheap, like, you know, instead of buying a €150 green screen from Elgato, buying a shower bar, putting that up in the room, right, one of those extendable shower bars, and then putting a bit of green linen over it. Hey, guess what? It works.
You ever thought about turning that into a product and selling it, you know?
Yeah,
But you could put your name on it instead of 150 quid.
The cheap bastard stream kit. It's a shower rod and a green sheet, and then for a camera, what can we come up with? Like, cause when I first started streaming, I was using like a helmet cam, but it wasn't like a really good one. It was one of those knockoff ones from China, and like it was just like I used it for my mountain biking videos that I used to make. You know, and it was great. You still get when you nice one. And it was just, I remember, I was like, oh, hey, I could use that. And sure enough, I plugged it in and it worked. I was like, hey, woohoo, I've got a webcam.
Right, so we need one of those in your kit then.
Yeah, you need one of those.
You need,
oh, God. I don't know. But yeah, we could make a little cheap
bastard
stream kit.
I think we can market that and sell it. I think we can do that.
Right, hey, let's talk about some gaming, Shav. Let's talk about some games.
Yeah.
The next article is from thumbsticks.com. And of course, this is something that I've already cashed in on. I downloaded it early this morning, played a little bit of it today, and that is For Honor is for free on Xbox One until Sunday. Oh, yeah. Basically, if you've got Xbox Live Gold, you will be able to download For Honor on Xbox One and play it freely until Sunday. Now, it's not limited to the multiplayer only aspect, because all of us here, we played the alpha, we also played the beta, and we liked it, we enjoyed it, but not enough to buy it. And it was always, with the alphas and the betas, it was only the multiplayer aspect. But with this free trial, you can play through the story. Which, okay, as you guys know, Matt, you own the game, you know, the story wasn't really that much to it. But still, it's nice to get a little taste. And then I do believe until Sunday, it'll be available at a discounted price. I think it's only, over here for us, maybe £24 or something. I think.
Yes, $24.99.
$24.99. So that's not bad. But what they're saying on the article is that the standard, deluxe, and gold editions of For Honor are all going to be available at a 50% discount until August 20th on the Xbox
Got to sell
store.
the game somehow.
It's true. And the reason that they're doing this free play weekend is, I mean, as you know, a lot of people know, and we even covered this on a Jungle Drums, I think a month or two ago, was how the For Honor community just died, right? I mean, people stopped playing it, mostly because of the peer-to-peer connection, which on a game where parrying, blocking, and timing is absolutely key, peer-to-peer just screws that up. I mean, how many times when we played, what was it? What was that game mode? Was it Dominion, Domination, or some crap? And the amount of times we had host migrations.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, it was crazy how much we had that.
I mean, that was one of the key reasons we didn't get it, let's be honest, because when that game first came out, no, not for Jungle Drums, no booming, I'm afraid. Only for the, usually when I do something active. You know, whenever that was first announced, Knights, Samurai, and Vikings, yeah, please, thank you. I remember, do you guys remember how hyped up I was for this game? Like, this, you know, I don't get hyped up that much, but this is one that as soon as I saw it at E3,
my hype memory buffer is all full of Jay's hype for Destiny 2 in it.
Well,
I
that's
think I
true.
remember.
His hype is the hype is the
let's,
hype.
let's not bring this in, okay? We're talking about.
But my For Honor hype, I can't remember if it was last year's E3 or the year before. I just remember when I saw it, going, "Holy shit!"
It was the year before last.
It
Eve.
must have been. Must have been.
And they burnt you. They burnt you good.
Well, it's don't get me wrong. It
Well-
still looks amazing, but how it played, just
The dev that came out on stage looked like an aged Viking.
well, yeah, he sold it.
Battle-worn Viking. Yeah, he was hyped for it, but
Considering that,
it had issues.
if you look at what they're doing with For Honor, right, they're taking cues from Siege. They're following a season model. They're introducing new maps, introducing new heroes, and now they're even doing seasons. So on August 15th, Season 3, Grudge and Glory, is coming out, and just this on its own makes me want to buy the game now. They've got 2 new heroes coming in. The Gladiator, which is, okay, cool, but the Highlander, right? I mean, you know me, being a proud Scot. I mean, the fact that I could play as a Highlander, and he looks great. He's got his big claymore, painted face. Oh, the furs. Yeah, no, sold. It looks good. But it's interesting that they're taking a lot of, kind of nods from Rainbow Six Siege. They're moving to the season kind of play, introducing new things. They're also trying to step away from the peer-to-peer. They're trying to get dedicated servers in. So it just shows you Siege works. Yes, it was shit when it first came out. No one will argue that. It's had a lot of issues. But as time has went on, Siege is now, I mean, yeah, no, I don't believe they've switched yet, but they're looking at it. I'm pretty sure that they're planning on it. Because even with Siege,
they should have done it by now if they were going to do it.
Yeah, they should.
They should have got that and go, look, improved our game. Maybe you want to buy it.
But I mean, hopefully that will revitalize it a little bit. Because Siege is growing. Siege now on Steam tends to be, I think, in the top 20 of games played. Occasionally, kind of getting up a little bit higher here and there. But I know on Mixer, for example, when you look through games, Siege is usually one of the most streamed. Underneath all your PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds and whatnot. But Siege usually still ranks up there quite a bit. So there. So I'm assuming we'll be trying to get some For Honor time in this weekend, boys, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe?
I'll have to get it on the download.
It is a bit big. It's like, I think, 45 gigs or something.
Mine's
What
half done.
what you lot doing tomorrow night?
Ooh.
The stream.
Ooh.
We could do.
We could do For Honor if you wish.
I finished work like on one, so I can put it on download up until then.
Yeah.
So,
Historical bros.
Yeah, get that shit downloaded
It's the
tonight and
prequel.
we'll maybe do that. Yeah, that sounds like an idea.
We'll have to let Nate know then so we can download.
Indeed. Right, let me, very, very briefly, there's not much on this one. This was from Quadoop.com, and this was a little sneak peek, courtesy of Major Nelson, at the new Xbox One dashboard update that's supposed to be coming up sooner, relatively soon.
Got some news on this.
It looks, fairly decent. What we got here? I know there's a quick video here. Let me see if I can.
Really exciting here because I just,
Let me just mute it. So not super different. Just like a few little kind of key differences to the way they're organizing things. Looks like they're just trying to make it better, so to speak. Whether you love it or hate it, I think a lot of people, or at least popular opinion, seems to be that the Xbox One has probably one of the best UI interfaces on console. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying popular opinion on the internet seems to be that way. And
PlayStation One, I know that much.
yeah, and a Nintendo Switch, I think, isn't as intuitive as it could be either.
That's Nintendo's usual thing of,
Well,
let's just make this completely unintelligible. Yeah, there we go.
but according to Microsoft, the update is aiming to improve speed and personalization through what they're calling the Microsoft Fluent Design System. So obviously a think tank came up with that name. But it's going to offer an entirely different screen at startup. You're going to navigate from a more horizontal point of view, and allegedly it's a bit more simplistic. At the top, you're going to see the latest game that you played, the 2 suggestion blocks next to that, and at the end, there's a sale. Oh, here we go. There's a sale of a title that might appeal to you. That's where they're sticking it to us. We're going to actually get curated advertisement type of, hey.
We already get curated.
We do, but it just...
Yeah.
Okay.
My issue is they seem to be changing it far too quickly. We're getting used to this one. It's like, oh, we're going to change it again.
That's a fair point.
This one's layout was basically like, you've got your... Similar to an internet browser, you got your tabs at the top, and then you scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got used to that. I got used to the guide. That's good. Now they're changing it again, and it's completely different. Right. Start from scratch. Learn it all again.
They like to keep you on your toes, make you use that dashboard.
Yeah.
Because if you want specific little areas of it, they can be hard to find at first.
I still have trouble finding specific areas or go past things I know are there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm usually quick on grasping these sort of things, but by the time you got used to it, they've already put out another update that completely changes it, rather than refining what they've already got. It's starting to get on my nerves.
I think that's fair enough. I mean, in some ways, there has been some really good improvements. I mean, I understand why they removed Snap, because it was a resource hog and it made things just, not work right.
Console couldn't handle it.
But at the same time, Snap was one of the handiest, things, because they promised us they were going to get rid of Snap, but have a picture-in-picture feature built into the Xbox, which still waiting on that.
The closest thing to Snap that's working at the minute is, I've noticed with the new, now Spotify has been released on Xbox One. That basically built into the guide as well with its own separate thing. You got your volume controls there.
Because that's because it's worked that way with Groove, and there's also there's a couple of media players that you can download, and it works that way too. I've got one installed on my Xbox. So what happens is it actually connects. It can access my music library on my computer, and then it just can play that as my background music as long as my PC's on. But yeah, I mean, especially for guys and gals that were streaming to Twitch, losing Snap meant they lost their chat. Because that's how most of the folk who were streaming directly from console, they would just, it was nice and handy. They had their chat right there, as they're playing the game. But now, as Scarlet's saying, they have to have, they either have to get their phone up and monitor it, or get a tablet, or get a PC. It's kind of sucked for a lot of folk who don't have all those extra devices. You've got a point there, Matt, because the fact that
it did happen a bit before they started really pushing
it did happen before, but still, it's
thinking in the future.
It could be, because when you look at how Mixer works, if you stream directly from console, your chat actually, kind of like how the stream looks, the way that the chat's popping up on my screen, it does that over your gameplay. So it is.
Microsoft are known for playing dirty in the business field, I've got to say.
Yeah, what company isn't known, to be fair?
So there definitely might be a tie-in.
Had a few court cases on it.
But no, I mean, I agree with you guys that it's wait a minute, we just get used to one thing and then they're coming out with another. But at the same time, I suppose that's the cost of progress, isn't it? If they're trying to improve something, I think.
But does it need improving though?
Well,
I wouldn't mind it being refined, but they keep just almost looking like they're scrapping it and going back to the drawing board every time, and that's what's annoying me.
How much of it is preparation for the Xbox One X as well? Maybe is it testing?
I'd rather they come out and say that if they're doing that.
Because is the Xbox One X going to have a completely different UI? Because would that make sense? Considering
why would there be
because it's not a new console, so having a new UI would be a bit weird.
Exactly. So I think it's maybe to do with that as well.
Maybe they're just refining it to work better with the Xbox One X. If they just said that, I'd understand it a bit more.
It kind of
feels like they just go on.
They've had, obviously they progressed it over time. If you look at what the old Xbox was, old school Xbox, and that's fair enough. You're almost moving with the times, and I can kind of understand and move with the times on this. But fundamentally, from what I'm aware of, there isn't too much wrong with the current UI for it. As you say, just a few tweaks and improvements. I know
there's been a few
upgrades on it.
There's been a few issues. I can't remember specifically what games, but sometimes you can get some weird crashes. Like I know personally, Now TV and sometimes Blinkbox, or it's not Blinkbox anymore, is it? It's Talk TV Store or something. I've had those crash on me quite often. What else?
Isn't that just the app?
Yeah, but
the UI.
Yeah, it's like a combination of the two, allegedly. So I don't know. But yeah, they're tweaking it. Oh well, bastards.
Sons of
stick a cheeky
hatches.
without changing it entirely visually is weird. I don't see how the side scrolling thing is better than the vertical scrolling. It's
Oh well. Again, a think tank, a study was
yeah.
done somewhere, and research said whatever.
Control groups and stuff.
Right, last bit of news.
Random people.
Last bit of news is in the realm of gaming yet again, and this is from mspoweruser.com, and it's actually to do with a game that I was fortunate enough, I played the closed beta on PC, and that was for this this game Lawbreakers, which I quite enjoyed it. It was very fast paced, very graphically, just looked really, really good. Probably a bit too fast for me, if I'm honest, because I'm getting older. But really, really, really cool. And it was created by Cliff Bleszinski, who Unreal Tournament, Gears of War. But unfortunately, Lawbreaker has, as the way this article is framing it, has paid the price for shunning Xbox One with a very faltering launch. Basically, the game had just launched, and it's really off to a rough start. The video game statistics company, Get Hip. Yeah, no, you're not wrong, Kevin. Battleborn 2.0. The game didn't launch within the top 100 games on Steam, and it lost. This is what's really, really interesting. Of the people that played the beta, like the open beta they put out, it lost 60% of its beta players post-launch. The game has only peaked at 3,000 gamers, and it's not getting any better. Because right now, it's looking around, the lows seem to be around 1,000 people a day are playing this game. Really, really a shame. Those are the PC numbers. And it's interesting that you mentioned Battleborn, Gim, because this article compares it to Battleborn, saying that actually this game is doing even worse, because Battleborn, and their words, not mine, the poster child of launch flops, Battleborn was hitting 12k at that stage, whereas Lawbreakers only managed 3k, so gives you an idea. But it's just kind of a shame. I mean, I'll be honest, I really enjoyed the beta. I thought it was cool. It wasn't going to be a game I was going to buy, but it was something different. It was super fast paced because of these like gravity things they've got, so it's quite weird. Like, you can end up jumping up towards this kind of gravity thing, which kind of catches you and shoots you kind of around, like almost how astronauts do, right?
Like
when they try to get in the orbit of something and use it to propel them. The weapons were great. The graphics on PC were just stunning. When I played it, even so it was the closed beta, I didn't have any real issues with connections or queues. All that seemed pretty polished. I don't understand why it hasn't been successful. I mean, what do you guys think?
I can think of a few things.
What's up?
It's a hero shooter, so immediately Overwatch is going to be compared to it. And of course, Blizzard is Blizzard. You want to compete with Blizzard, you've got to do something like right out there, like go free to play or something, which would have that definitely would have helped. Not being on Xbox, I think not being free to play hurt it more. If they had gone for a free to play more.
Okay, interesting.
Because then you would have had lots more PC players jumping on it. Taken off.
So do you think this should have really have been a free-to-play model rather than...
It definitely would have helped. Because even though Overwatch isn't free-to-play in people's minds, if you want to compete with it, you've got to be free-to-play. I mean, that's what affected Battleborn a lot. Even though Battleborn was a different game because it had mobile element, which Overwatch doesn't have.
I like how this article actually does also a very quick comparison as to why the first Titanfall did so well at launch, even so it was a console exclusive. You know, and they're saying it's because, well, look, you know, there's a certain type of gamer that's attracted to the Xbox brand, and you know, so that's why it made sense. Whereas, maybe the PS4 doing, you know, specifically to the PS4. Oh, it's absolutely. I mean, statistics show that. If you look at, you know, don't get me wrong, there's obviously those of us that we don't care and we'll play on whatever and we own multiple consoles. But when you look at demographics and statistics, you can, I know it sounds stereotypical, but the numbers don't lie. When you look at the average age of Xbox players, the average age of PS4 players, the typical type of games a PS4 player plays compared to an Xbox One. Again, I'm not talking about those of us that just play on anything, but those people who are exclusive to one console. There are patterns and trends that have developed over time, and you'll see a lot of time it comes out as shade or assault, you know, where people are just like taking the piss out of each other. But there's actually quite a bit of truth between, like, you look at, I'm trying to think of a competitive game where there's certain competitive games that it is honestly more hardcore on one console compared to the other. And then likewise, you know, when you get in the realm of FPSs, most console players are just kind of, you know, not really even acknowledged by the PC players. But no, it's not my opinion. It's just statistically, yes, there's certain types of gamer are drawn to the to these kind of platforms, according to the number, friggin' the bean counters. You know, statistics and numbers were never was never much of a statistician, but they do exist.
Another thing that might have hurt, I've just been thinking, I might have hurt Lawbreakers is the very mechanics of it. It's I hear it's difficult to master, which puts a lot of people off.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I got a couple of kills, but yeah, it was definitely.
Apparently, also the tutorials don't really explain some key things to do with the zero gravity mechanic as well.
True.
Which is a big miss if they haven't done that properly.
Yeah, I think even lore-wise and story-wise, I felt a little bit kind of out of the loop when I was playing it as well. Like, I didn't actually know. Maybe it was my fault for not paying attention, but I didn't actually know, okay, why are we here? What are we doing? Like, you know how at least in Overwatch, it has that kind of preamble to it, and you kind of, there's a reasoning.
It took time for Blizzard to actually put the lore together, really.
Yeah.
And the lore doesn't make sense, but you actually get into the context of the game. It's like, oh, these are the Talon bad guys, but you're going to work with them anyway, even though you're an Overwatch guy, because game. And stuff like that. So the lore doesn't really mesh with the game very well, but there is lore behind it. I have not heard anything about Lawbreakers lore. I looked at a trailer and said, there's Robot Guy, and there's some other bloke, and they're trying to capture something. Don't you know what that something is?
Well, I remember seeing at E3 and being curious, not really like super excited, but curious. So I'd signed up for the beta just for kind of shits and giggles. And so sure enough, when I got accepted, I was like, okay, screw it, you know, I'll give it a try. And yeah, just, it was good, it looked good, but just not my... I mean, you know how I am anyway when it comes to strictly online shooters. Siege has been a really weird anomaly for me, because I don't usually go for that type of thing. But it's interesting.
Siege is a special case.
Siege is a very special case. But it's, you know, it's interesting if having just on PC and PS4, I don't think that having it on Xbox as well would have necessarily made a difference. And I don't think that attempting to release it like an upgraded version for the One X, I don't think that's going to necessarily help salvage it. And if anything, if these numbers stay as low as what they are, I would be very doubtful that they would even think of bringing it out on Xbox One. They'd more likely do like you're saying, Joe, and do this, make it free to play. You know, like, and It's just a shame. A
proper
game that
free-to-play
comes out
one.
retail that then turns free to play. I mean, let's look. Evolve, Battleborn, that Warhammer 40k one, Eternal Crusade. I don't necessarily think going from paid to free to play usually works.
It can't save every game, but it can work on some.
And some.
Yeah. The problem with like some of those examples is Evolve. From the very start, they just ruined it with their millions of different purchase types. It poisoned it for a lot of people, and that was never going to succeed after that. Then Eternal Crusade, it's just not a good game.
No,
it's just bad.
It's just such a shame. I want
Most 40k games are bad in a minute. Hopefully that Deathwing just come to console soon. They'll fix that.
Yes, hopefully. Because I mean, that still
needs a lot of work.
On PC, I still haven't bought that because it's still not in the right place.
No,
which is a shame.
So much work.
That is a shame.
It's so difficult to get good 40k games. Dawn of War is about it, and even this current new Dawn of War is...
I loved Space Marine on the 360.
Space Marine was good. That's also an anomaly. I kind of like Fire Warrior, even though that was bad.
Fire Warrior is fantastic. I thought that was great.
It looked old even when it came out.
It was still great.
Well, gents, that was our last story of the evening. So that is it. That is it for Jungle Drums. You know, if you've tuned in live, thank you so much for watching us live. If you did not catch us live and you've been watching this on video on demand, whether that's on YouTube or at good old scholarlygamers.com, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to do as you would do with any other video. Like if you like, dislike if you don't, and please share as much as you want to. We will see you again next week for another episode of Jungle Drums, but in the meantime, we're going to be playing, I think, some For Honor this weekend. That's what it sounds like to me. But anyway, that is us. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll catch you later.
Oh, it's pretty good timing for me.